Hey everybody, Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some more Pittsburgh Steelers preview and prediction. We are back, week 1 underway for the NFL. Steelers kicking things off Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time against the New York Jets. Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com, would really appreciate that. So, off the top, week 1, always funky, always hard to predict, especially with how much new there is for both sides, Pittsburgh and New York. The Steelers' new look roster, over 10,000 snaps from a year ago, are gone. All the veterans brought in. The Jets, maybe less roster turnover, but new regime, new head coach, new coaching staff, coordinators. I think only one, at least offensively, only one positional coach remained from last year for the Jets. That was wide receivers coach Sean Jefferson. So looking at this Jets offense and Pittsburgh's defense, Justin Fields, of course, goes from Pittsburgh to New York. It seems like Aaron Glenn, the Jets' new head coach, really wants a style similar to Pittsburgh, run heavy, ground and pound, win in the trenches, built with a young offensive line with plenty to prove, and that's really where this starts on both sides of the ball for the Jets. Young tackles, Olu Fashanu at left tackle, Membu at right tackle. His first game will be against TJ Watt. Jets lose their starting right guard, Elijah Vera-Tucker, for the season. They're playing musical chairs late in this process. John Simpson, maybe a weak link at left guard against Kim Hayward. Should Hayward play, which I still think he will, but he is not committed to that, at least. We'll see what happens. So overall, can Pittsburgh's pass rush and can they win the point of attack? That's going to be the key in this one. My concern in this one is the Jets are going to try to make Pittsburgh's defense play slow in terms of the run game, the threat of Justin Fields, some of the read option looks, even if they're not always true reads, but just presenting that at the mesh point, the threat, and having to account for Fields the way that Pittsburgh benefited from that with Fields and his 6 starts last year for the Steelers. Will that slow down the eyes of the Steelers defense of that front 7? That's going to be the intent for New York. And then in the pass game, can you rush full out and confident when you have to really focus on containing Justin Fields and worrying even more about your rush lane integrity and not getting up the arc and not taking the risk of trying to swim inside because you know you have to keep contained. If Fields gets outside, it could be problematic. And so will you see more mush rushes? Will you see Pittsburgh have to be restrained? And when they have to be restrained and play slower, obviously they don't play at their best. And so can you play as much man coverage in this game? Pittsburgh goes out there and signs Darius Slay and trades for Jalen Ramsey and has high hopes for Joey Porter Jr. in year 3, as strong a top 3 at corner as you'll see in the NFL to play a lot of man coverage. But can you do so against a mobile quarterback where if you play man, you turn and run, your back's to the ball, if Fields takes off or scrambles, it's harder to see that and to match that. So that's going to be a real big chess match in this one. Can the Jets slow down the Steelers defense in the run game and in the pass game? But I think what Pittsburgh has the benefit of, the front 7 should still be stout and strong, provided that Cam Hayward plays, even with Derek Carmen out. Peyton Wilson, Patrick Queen have to play downhill, play physical. If the run game can be taken away, and then you take away Garrett Wilson, or at least minimize his impact with the presence of Jalen Ramsey, who I don't think Ramsey will shadow Garrett Wilson the entire game. I think it'll be more situational, third down, big-time moments. You'll see Ramsey on the outside. Maybe Darius Slay comes off the field in those moments. Perhaps Brandon Echols then plays in the slot. So I don't think it'll be every single snap for Ramsey, just in those key moments with Ramsey on Garrett Wilson. But if you can minimize him, you minimize the running game, you take away plan A and plan B for the Jets, and that's really advantage Pittsburgh. But can you sack Justin Fields, who historically has been one of the most sacked quarterbacks in NFL history? His sack rate is over 11%. Those are the big keys for Pittsburgh's defense. And then for the Steelers offense, a lot of eyes, of course, on Aaron Rodgers. And granted, in the way that Pittsburgh's familiar with Fields, the Jets to some degree are familiar with Rodgers. I think Pittsburgh has more the advantage, albeit a slight one, because the coaching staff is the same. Tomlin, Terrell Austin, even quarterbacks coach Tom Arth. They had Fields in that building. Aaron Glenn and company didn't have Aaron Rodgers. Some of the defensive players know him, obviously, but I don't think there'll be as big an impact on Rodgers and the Jets knowing him as there is with Pittsburgh knowing Justin Fields. But regardless, you got to go out there and make the plays. The Jets have a good defense. It's a good defensive coaching staff. Glenn, a DC in Detroit. Steve Wilkes, a really quality defensive coordinator. So it's going to be a well-coached, disciplined group. They're going to be physical up front. Their front seven is really good. Quinnen Williams at the tackle. Will McDonald broke out in a big way last season. 10.5 sacks for the Jets. And so like I talked about with New York and Pittsburgh's young tackles, can they step up Broderick Jones, Troy Fautanu? Those will be big tests, especially in pass protection. And then just some general notes for Pittsburgh to win on first down. They were the worst first down team in the NFL last season. They were 29th in short yardage, situational football, red zone, some obvious type stuff on the road. Don't beat yourself with penalties. Don't play behind the sticks. That's obviously going to be key. None of the dumb taunting penalties. The NFL's cracking down on that. We saw that in the opener between Philadelphia and Dallas. And the NFL typically does this stuff where they really have points of emphasis early in the season to send a message. Then they sort of back down throughout the season once that message has been sent. So don't do anything that could even come close to a taunt that could lead to a flag and costly penalty. Finally, for special teams, cannot forget about special teams. If Pittsburgh's playing a close game, which they often do, special teams can usually and frequently be the difference. The kick returners in this one, Caleb Johnson, Kenneth Gainwell, can somebody make an impact play there? And then also just offensively, just to briefly branch out, Jaylen Warren in his first game, what does that running back rotation look like? Can other receivers step up? DK Metcalf, I imagine Sauce Gardner will be on Metcalf and pretty much shadow him throughout the entire game. Gardner played sides more than he did shadow in the Robert Saleh era. I think it's going to change under Aaron Glenn. So there's a weakness, I think, with the other Jets corners. Brandon Stevens, he signed a good money contract, but was not great in Baltimore last year. So can the speed of Calvin Austin or Roman Wilson make some plays? Doesn't have to be 7 catches for $120. It just has to be maybe that 1 40-yard play, the chunk plays Pittsburgh's trying to get and infuse into their offense that has been missing for far too long. So I kind of took myself off track there, but wanted to circle back and talk about the offense and maybe some other guys stepping up if Metcalf's facing some tight coverage all game long. But special teams for Pittsburgh, Chris Boswell, always an asset. Corliss Waitman returns as punter for the Jets. They have a new kicker in the sense, Nick Folk, who was a former Jet, but signed back in 2025 earlier this offseason. The Jets, they played a lot of close games last year, and their kicker missed a couple kicks in the fourth quarter, and that could have really changed the arc of their season. So I think the Jets probably feel better about where they're at from a special teams standpoint. But close games, we'll see who has the edge there. You think it'd be Pittsburgh, but we shall see. So for my world famous predictions, which you guys know are never wrong, in that it's usually wrong, and we'll see what happens for this season. So thought about this one. There's certainly some things to give me pause when it comes to picking Pittsburgh in this game, but I will pick the Steelers 23-17, even though Aaron Rodgers has not won an opener since 2020. I think that changes this year. The Jets have not been great in openers, but that's all history, and the here and now is what matters the most. Bottom line is I think Pittsburgh, the offense will look better, more chunk plays, and then defensively, the run defense can be stout. Really try to lock up Garrett Wilson in the pass game. I think Pittsburgh generally does a nice job taking away number one receiving targets. It's a defensive back-minded coaching staff with Mike Tomlin, Terrell Austin in the background. Those guys have as former defensive back coaches and defensive coordinators. So I think it's enough to make Fields have to make more plays with his arm than his legs, and that is an advantage for the Steelers. So I have Pittsburgh going 1-0, but we'll be back to talk about it, whether I'm right or wrong. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Drop your score prediction in the comments as well. Does Pittsburgh start 1-0, or does the sky fall and Pittsburgh start 0-1? Either way, we will be back to talk about it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.